Dear viewers, my name is Javed Hassan. I am trying to develop the series of video lectures of pathology and botany subjects for classes 11th and 12th. As you know, science is that subject which is based on experiments and observations. So video lectures are the best ones for learning such subject. In addition to this, there are some other key advantages of video lectures, like you can learn anywhere from mobile devices, laptops, tablets or smartphones. You can enjoy the process of learning whenever you want. We know that each student has his own pace of learning. With video lectures, all students can learn at their own individual pace. It also provides an opportunity for self-study. I am developing these video lectures keeping in mind that they will help students to develop their quality education in this subject and also enjoy the process of learning. Hope you will enjoy these video lectures. Thanks. Dear students, in this video I will discuss about the alimentary canal of man. The first part of the alimentary canal starts from mouth. It is a transverse slit. It is bounded by two soft, movable lips. The border between the lips and the rest skin is called vermilion border. The space between the nose and the upper lip is called philtrum. Now, look towards the teeth. These are divided into 4 parts: upper right quadrant, upper left quadrant, lower right quadrant, and lower left quadrant. The teeth are found embedded in jaw sockets. This condition is known as thecodont. There are 4 different types of teeth according to the structure and function. This condition is known as heterodont. There are 2 sets of teeth in man. 20 deciduous teeth develop in the baby. These are called baby teeth or milk teeth. These are replaced later between the age of 16 to 13 with another set called permanent dentition. This condition is known as diphyodont. The 4 types of teeth in humans are incisors, canines, premolars and molars. These are arranged according to the dental formula in one side of both jaws. Incisors 2 by 2, canines 1 by 1, premolars 2 by 2 and molars 3 by 3. In 2 sides, the total number of teeth becomes 32. Now look towards the structure of tooth. It is divided into 3 parts: root, neck and crown. In section, a tooth consists of enamel. It forms the outermost layer of tooth. It lines dentine in the crown and neck region. It is white in color and is formed of calcium phosphate and carbonate with enamel rods. The second layer is dentine. It forms the major part of tooth. Chemically, it is similar to bone, being formed of calcium carbonate and phosphates. It is yellowish in color. The next layer is pulp cavity. It is made up of connective tissue, blood capillaries and nerve fibers. It provides nourishment to the tooth and is very sensitive to pain. Now, if we observe mouth cavity internally, it is divided into three regions: the hard palate on the roof, soft palate on the back, and a tongue on the floor. Now, look towards the hard palate. This is called incisive papilla. And this hard palate is divided into two parts: primary palate and secondary palate. The central hard line is called mid-palatal suture. Now look towards the tongue. Its dorsal surface bears numerous papillae called lingual papillae, like fungiform papillae, filiform papillae, and circumvallate papillae. The taste buds of tongue located on the sides of fungiform papillae and circumvallate papillae. The taste buds located near the tip of tongue taste for sweet. Those present on the sides taste for sour and salt. And those located on the posterior side are meant for bitter taste. Now, in soft palate, we find uvula. This is palatoglossal arch. This is palatopharyngeal arch. Between two arches, we find a tonsil here. This is called palatine tonsil. In addition to this, there are three pairs of salivary glands opening into the mouth, like parotid salivary gland opening through the parotid duct adjacent to upper molar. Next is the submandibular salivary gland and sublingual salivary gland. These glands are exocrine, means they contain ducts. They produce saliva, which is formed of several things including amylase, a digestive enzyme that breaks down starch into maltose and glucose. It also protects us from infection. Now, if we will look the digestive process in mouth, the food is taken in through the mouth. The teeth masticate the food and break it into small particles. This is called the mechanical digestion. In the mouth, the food is also mixed with saliva, secreted by the salivary glands, which lubricates the food and helps in swallowing. The saliva contains an enzyme called amylase, or we can say ptyalin, which breaks down starch of the food into complex sugars known as dextrins. This enzyme acts best at a pH of 6.7, which is the pH of saliva. The saliva contains about 98.5% to 90% water. It also contains lysozyme. Lysozyme stops the growth of some microbes. Hence, it protects us from infection. Now, look toward the stomach. Oral cavity leads to pharynx. Pharynx is the cavity behind soft palate. It is small sized, about 12 to 14 centimeter long, where food and air passage across each other. It has following openings: 2 nasal openings, 2 Eustachian openings. Gullet. Gullet means opening of esophagus. Glottis means opening of trachea. Opening of buccal cavity into the pharynx. Glottis is closed during the swallowing of food bolus by a leaf-like structure made up of cartilage called epiglottis. Now, pharynx leads to esophagus. It's a muscular tube about 10 inches long. Food passes down the esophagus by a movement called peristaltic movement. Its opening into the stomach is surrounded by a ring-like muscles called esophageal sphincter. Now, if we will look towards the stomach, it is an elongated sac. It lies below the diaphragm in the upper part of abdominal cavity with liver lobes. It is divided into 3 parts. The first part is caudate. Caudate is the left broad upper part. Esophagus opens into it by an opening called caudate aperture. It is projected above the caudate valve and is called fundus. Pyloric part is the next part of stomach. It is the lower narrow part of stomach which opens into the duodenum by pyloric aperture and is guarded by a pyloric sphincter. It prevents the pre-digested food to enter the duodenum. The middle part is called the corpus or body of the stomach. Now, if we will discuss about the histology of stomach, the stomach consists of 4 layers. The first layer is serosa. Serosa is the outermost coat. It is thin and continuous with the peritoneum. It is smooth and slippery. After the serosa, the next layer is muscular coat. The muscular layer is quite thick and consists of 3 sets of muscles. These are longitudinal muscles, circular muscles, and oblique muscles. The muscular wall of the stomach produces wave-like movements, the peristalsis, with the help of which food moves forward. The next layer is submucosal layer. It is the next layer consisting of loose areolar tissue having large blood vessels, lymphatics, and nerve fibers. After the submucosa, the next layer is mucosa coat. The mucosa coat is the innermost layer. It is formed of numerous folds. In the mucous coat, there are numerous openings of glands. The glands have 3 types of cells: axanthic or parietal cells. These cells produce dilute hydrochloric acid. It also produces intrinsic factor or gastrointrinsic factor, GIF, that helps in the absorption of vitamin B12. The next cell is peptic cells. These cells produce an enzyme, pepsin. The next cell type is mucous cells. These are distributed in a great quantity and secrete mucus, which lubricates the entire stomach cavity. Inside the stomach, the gastric juice contains mucus, HCl, and proteases like pepsinogen and prorenin. The HCl kills bacteria of the food and stops the action of saliva because the medium is now acidic with a pH between 1 to 2. It also converts inactive pepsinogen into pepsin, which is used to break down proteins into peptones and amino acids. Renin is the other enzyme found in gastric juice. It is used to convert soluble protein, casein, found in the milk of infants, into its insoluble form, that is curd, so that it is retained in the stomach for a longer time. The semi-liquid food in the stomach is now called chyme. Now, we summarize its functions. It stores food until it is partially digested. Number second, it secretes gastric juice to aid in digestion. It churns the food into a fine pulp and mixes gastric juice. Water and soluble foods such as sugar, alcohol, and certain drugs are absorbed by the stomach wall. Next, its acid kills bacteria that enters stomach along with food. It produces the hormone gastrin in the pyloric stomach that stimulates secretion of gastric juice by gastric glands. It produces intrinsic factor IF that helps in the absorption of vitamin B12. Now, of the stomach, we will discuss about small intestine. Small intestine is about 20 feet long tube and its diameter is about 2.5 centimeter. It lies coiled in the abdominal cavity. It is divided into three parts. The first part is duodenum. It is the first part of small intestine, about 25 centimeter long. Its descending limb receives the opening of common bile duct and pancreatic duct. The next part is jejunum. Jejunum is the middle part of small intestines. It is about 8 feet long and is narrower than the duodenum. The last part of small intestine is called ileum. It's about 12 feet long. If we will look towards the internal structure of small intestine, it is made up of different layers like serosa. Serosa, it is made up of connective tissue. It provides route for blood vessels and nerves. It also secretes serous fluid and lubricates small intestines. The next layer of the serosa is muscularis externa. It is made up of smooth muscles. It has further two layers of muscles, circular muscles and longitudinal muscles. This layer plays a very important role in moving chyme forward. This movement is called peristalsis, and it also mixes the food with enzymes, which is called segmentation. The another layer is submucosa, which is made up of dense connective tissue. It contains large blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, and submucosal nerve plaques. It regulates the muscular contraction of small intestines. The another layer is mucosa, which is made up of epithelial cells and performs the absorption of nutrients. Small intestines has many circular folds. These folds provide a large surface area for the absorption of food. The wall of the small intestine is made up of finger-like projections called villi. The surface of each villus is further made up of smaller projections called microvilli, or they are also called brush borders. Internally, each villus is made up of blood capillaries and lacteals and provide a large surface area for absorption of food. Now, we will look towards the digestive process in small intestines. The bile secreted by the liver in duodenum convert large fat droplets into small fat droplets. Pancreatic juice secreted by pancreas contain different enzymes like trypsin. It converts proteins into proteoses and peptides. Chymotrypsin. It converts proteins into peptones. Pancreatic amylase converts starch into maltose. Lipase convert bile emulsified fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Carboxypeptidase convert peptides into amino acids. Nuclease convert nucleic acid into nucleotides. Now, intestinal juice contain these different enzymes like aminopeptidase, convert peptides into small peptides and amino acids. Dipeptidase, convert peptides into amino acids. Tripeptidase, convert tripeptides into amino acids. Enterokinase, convert trypsinogen into trypsin. Nuclease, convert nucleic acid into nucleotides. Nucleotidase, convert nucleoids into nucleosides. Nucleoside phosphorylase, convert nucleosides and phosphate into nitrogenous bases and pentose phosphate. Maltase, convert maltose into glucose. Sucrase, convert sucrose into fructose and glucose. Lactase, convert lactose into glucose and galactose. This was all about the digestive process in small intestines. In small intestines, most of the digested nutrients are absorbed in two ways. Passive absorption. Passive absorption takes place by simple diffusion. This occurs only when nutrient molecules are small and water soluble and concentration of nutrients is higher in intestinal lumen than inside the cell, so that substances moves from higher to lower concentration. Active absorption. Energy is spent by the cells while obtaining substances by active transport. It occurs more rapidly than diffusion. You must know that substances of high nutritional value like sodium, glucose, galactose and amino acids are absorbed actively and completely from the intestine. By active absorption, cells can absorb even when the concentration of substance is much lower in the intestinal lumen than in the intestinal cells and blood. Now we will summarize the functions of small intestines. It completes the digestion. It absorbs the digested food, secretes hormones that controls the secretion of pancreatic juice, bile and intestinal juice. Now we will discuss about large intestines. Large intestine is wider than small intestine. It is about 5 to 6 feet long and its diameter is 6 centimeters. It is also called the colon. The junction between the large intestine and small intestine is called ileocecal valve. Large intestines are divided into 3 parts: ascending colon, transverse colon and descending colon. The descending colon leads into rectum, which is about 15 centimeter long and then ends at ends. Its histological structure resembles with small intestines, except that the mucus coat has no villi. But mucus secreting cells are numerous. It performs different functions like it absorbs water, manufactures vitamins, produces mucus, and forms and expels feces. You must know that the chyle entering the large intestine consists of about 75% water, some proteaceous substances along with the carbohydrate residues. As the waste material moves through the colon, water is absorbed. Symbiotic bacteria like Escherichia coli and Streptococcus residing in the human colon feed on protein contents of the chyle, breaking them into amino acids, which are absorbed into the blood. Colon bacteria also synthesize vitamins like vitamin B and K. They convert bile pigments into brown pigments that gives color to the feces. Intestinal bacteria sometimes produce foul-smelling compounds and gases which give characteristic odor to feces and intestinal gas. Antibiotics often kill the symbiotic bacteria, allowing other microbes to grow. This causes diarrhea.